Central. CBS Sports, your 2018 home of March Madness, the Masters, once and for all, the PGA Championship, PGA Tour, SEC football, the NFL. Remarkable! And February 3rd, Super Bowl 53.
Jones, 3 for the win. Get it! Radford wins it, and the Highlanders go dancing. The Lipscomb Bisons will stampede LIU Brooklyn. It's going to the big dance.
We're going to the big dance. The Ramblers are going dancing.
The Iona Gales, champions again. UNCG gets revenge. And the Lakers, they are your tournament champions.
Matt Mobley hits a step. Here's Terrell.
Bruton at the buzzer. Here's the shot. Here we go. Does it get any better than this? Big time jam. How about that? Spectacular. You better believe it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Adam Zucker, and welcome to Inside College Basketball, presented by Progressive Insurance. As the countdown to Selection Sunday continues, we have a great triple header for you today. In the first American semifinal, it's top seed Cincinnati and buzzer-beating Memphis, followed by Wichita State and Houston in semifinal number 2. And later in the Mountain West Championship game, San Diego State, after knocking off top seed Nevada, takes on New Mexico with an NCAA tournament bid on the line. And for the next 30 hours, this might be the most closely watched room in the country. The NCAA Selection Committee, evaluating candidates from every conference, piecing together the puzzle that is the 68-team tournament field. Selection Sunday, just a day away, and those 68 teams all have one goal in mind: a trip to San Antonio to cut down the nets and raise that trophy as national champions. And we have our committee today here in the studio who have it all figured out already. Clark Kellogg and Seth Davis, and yeah, we are just a day away.
A day away. 14 automatic qualifiers will punch their ticket today. I only see one potential stoop squeezer, and that's in the Mountain West Championship, because Nevada is in, and then obviously the winner of today's game between San Diego State and New Mexico.
So Bobby Hurley's the coach at Arizona State. His brother Dan Hurley coaching Rhode Island. Bobby's really rooting for Dan to win. Not only because he loves him, but because if you're a bubble team, you need teams like Rhode Island to win. We've already lost Middle Tennessee and Nevada, potential bid thieves. So Louisville, Syracuse, Notre Dame and the like, they're rooting for Rhode Island too. That's what happens this time of year.
He's not just rooting for him because he's his brother.
That
Come on.
would be enough,
So
but this is a little bit more to really want him to win.
Okay. All right, now last night, conference tournament action was non-stop, guys. Let's go through the highlights here and begin in the ACC, Clark. And, you know, Grayson Allen's in Brooklyn. He wants to be a hipster.
Yeah, it should have been just a common foul. Nothing flagrant there. Clearly unsporting, but not flagrant. Move on, and the Tar Heels did. They moved on, let a 12-point late lead dissipate, but held on for the 5-point win. And they are in the championship game of the ACC tonight against the winner of the Clemson-Virginia game, and it's the UVA Cavaliers. This team could win it all, folks. Dominant defensively and solid on offense.
Down in Madison Square Garden, Big East Tournament, Xavier trying to lock up that #1 seed. Providence and Rodney Bullock having other ideas. The big block, we got free basketball in the Garden. They actually charge you for that in New York, but I think America's got to get to know Kyron Cartwright. The big shot for him. Providence rolls on. Xavier goes home. Chris Mack needs to pick up those pieces.
Providence is a really good defensive team, though. And so to say that, you know, we missed open shots would be a discredit to how well they are on the defensive end.
Well, congratulations, Providence. Good news is you're playing the Big East Final. Bad news, you got these guys. Mikal Bridges and Villanova made mincemeat of their opponent, Butler. They're going to win the Big East, and they're going to win the championship nationally, I said.
And the Jayhawks just continue to roll. Malik Newman leading the way. 22 points for the Jayhawks, #1 seed in the conference tournament. They will face the West Virginia Mountaineers in the Big 12 final. They held on to beat Texas Tech by 3. This is the 3rd straight trip to the final for the Mountaineers. They've yet to grab the trophy. Today might be the day.
I mentioned about Nevada going down, and hey, if you're going to lose, you might as well lose big like this. Really? San Diego State obliterated them, and first-year head coach Brian Dutcher's team has a chance.
Just real happy to found a way to beat a really good Nevada team. I mean, they're an NCAA tournament team. There's no question about it.
I agree with you about that, Coach. Good luck today. You got the New Mexico Lobos. They got 16 points from Joe Furstinger, and their win over Utah State should be a good one. Winner goes to the NCAA tournament. Loser does not.
Had extra basketball in this one, Arizona and UCLA. But DeAndre Ayton, he had 32 and came up with big buckets down the stretch. The Wildcats will play in the conference championship game against USC. Some folks thought this team might be on the bubble. Getting to the Pac-12 championship game may make that a moot point. There's Jonah Matthews with 2 of his 27.
I don't know. Trojans may need to win that game, Clark. Let's not punch him in just yet. I'll tell you what, if you're a tournament team, you do not want to see the Crimson Tide because they have Colin Sexton, and they looked great yesterday. Embarrassing Auburn. They will play Kentucky today. Should be an interesting game.
All right, and there was more, actually. In the SEC quarterfinal between Mississippi State and Tennessee, Nick Weatherspoon of the Bulldogs suffering a scary injury, and there was uproar over how things ensued after he went down. This is Weatherspoon with the ball, driving for the layup, goes down hard on his hip and holding his head. Tennessee coming the other way with the ball. Mississippi State gets the steal, and it ends up in the hands of Nick's brother, Quindary Weatherspoon, and on the basket being made, Quindary and the Tennessee defender land right on Nick. And there is some good news after he had to be stretchered off last night. His CAT scan and x-rays did come back negative. He still has pain in his right hip, soreness in his neck, but the test showed that nothing was broken, and he was able to walk out of the hospital on crutches and MRI on his pelvis going on today, Seth. But should play have been stopped at some point?
Definitely should have been stopped. I don't know if the refs saw the young man go down and realized how hurt he was. They're trained to let the game keep going until there's a more natural place to stop. I've seen coaches in certain situations get upset when they stop a game. But this is something the Rules Committee, I think, should look at, this play in the offseason to try to get a better monitoring system, because that could have been a really tragic situation.
And I know Coach doesn't want to lose a basket either, but maybe call timeout if the refs don't stop play. Do something there. All right.
Scary.
Let's have a look at the teams already in the NCAA tournament. We spin the board. It all began in the Ohio Valley with Murray State getting in. Radford had the buzzer beater. Loyola Chicago for the first time in forever. And Lipscomb for the first time ever. Michigan did business a week early. Charleston in for the first time since 1999. LIU Brooklyn, those guys are going to visit us here in the studio in a little while. And Bucknell looking strong in that Patriot League championship game. Clark, biggest surprise on the board so far?
Well, my biggest is Michigan, because they were playing extremely well, but I thought Michigan State or Purdue would be able to handle them in the Big Ten tournament. Didn't happen. Defensively, this team has gone to another level. I think it's the best defensive team John Beilein has had since he's been at Michigan, and we know what they can do offensively, inside and outside. Very versatile. 9 straight wins. Very, very dangerous team. One of about 20, I think, that could win it all.
Just up the road here, how about Iona in the MAC? They finished in 4th place during the regular season. Somewhere Jim Valvano's smiling because Tim Plouffe going to take this team to the NCAA tournament for the 4th time. They are small and scattered. They're not going to rebound well, but they led the conference in 3 points made per game. They make 10 threes a game. Roland Griffin had 29. And because of the way they finished in the conference, they're going to be seated very low. Maybe a 15, maybe a 16. I know Clark Kellogg insists that he's 16 will never be the one in our lifetime. If it's ever going to happen, this is the type of team that could do it, because the MAC was pretty well balanced, and they can really score the ball from behind the three-point line.
If you say it enough times, eventually you'll be right.
Eventually you will be, right? Someday, maybe in our lifetimes. All right, a lot more still to come here on Inside College Basketball, presented by Progressive Insurance. We'll preview both American semifinal matchups, and we're going to take a look at how Kelvin Sampson and the Cougars helped the Houston community heal in the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. And later, we are joined by the Atlantic Sun champs Lipscomb, making its first NCAA tournament appearance.
Inside College Basketball, presented by Progressive Insurance, is sponsored by Progressive Insurance, your first-round pick for car insurance, and by AT&T.
Talk about a silencer. Special delivery all the way. Bullseye.
March Madness begins with the selection show tomorrow.
For 3. Coming with the thunder. At the buzzer. Here's the shot. He got it!
All right, coming up next, it's Memphis and Cincinnati in the first American semifinal. Tracy Wolfson spoke with embattled Memphis head coach Tubby Smith a short time ago.
Coach, just so much adversity your team has had to handle over these last few weeks, whether it's the loss of Jeremiah Martin or whether it's the swirling rumors about your status, yet 7 of 8 you guys have won. How do they continue to do it?
Well, we've got some very experienced players, you know, players that have played in junior college and 2 that have played here last year. They understand the process. They know who we are and they know what our system is about, even though they've had to learn and relearn some things. It's been, and when you put that many people, 11 non-Division I players together, it can take some time to blend together. So they've come together because, you know, a lot of it had to do with the loss of Jeremiah. You know, guys, you know, the minutes were more evenly distributed now, and I think that has made a difference as well.
Well, you face a Cincinnati team that you lost to twice, but second game a little closer, as you mentioned to us. So what do you think it's going to take today to get that win against them?
We're going to have to play better than we did the last 2 times against them. They really handed it to us up in Cincinnati, but we had the game within hand in our place and just lost control of it. Some turnovers, and that's what killed us, and that's hurt us in this tournament. We had, you know, turnovers yesterday, 18, and we were able to escape with a win. But that's what has happened without Jeremiah, you know, putting Kareem Bruton, who had a great shot yesterday. You know, he's really not a point guard, but he's doing an adequate job there. You know, rebounding. We got to match their toughness because Cincinnati is one of the most physical teams in the country, and we got to do a good job of boxing out and playing strong.
Appreciate the time. Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tracy. Coming off that buzzer beater, Clark, but a lot to think about facing the Cincinnati team.
Think about. And one of the things they got to think about is how they're going to deal with Gary Clark. I mean, he had 31 points, 19 points in the 2 prior meetings, and this guy is consistently reliable and ready to produce. Actually leads his team in rebounds, steals, blocks, and 3-point field goal percentage. Now, he doesn't have a big sample size, but he is the kind of guy that you can lean on because he's a rock, so steady, and a versatile, tough matchup to handle.
So Memphis has lost a lot of games this season by some really bad margins. Then they lose their leading scorer, Jeremiah Martin, and now they've won 6 of the last 7. So what that tells me is that Tubby's players have never given up on him. Quite the contrary. The problem he's facing right now, Adam, is that the fans in Memphis have given up on him. That place always was filled. Even I've been there for Midnight Madness. It was packed to the gills. They're getting 4,000 or 5,000 a game. And when you have someone like Penny Hardaway with all those great players locally, it's been an up-road climb for him. So that's going to be their challenge moving forward as they try to figure out what to do with him.
Well, if they win today and tomorrow, some of those fans will be coming back their way. All right, in the second American semifinal, it's number 21 Houston and 11th ranked Wichita State. This is the rubber match for the Cougars and Shockers, each winning on their home floor by double digits this season. And as Kelvin Sampson's Cougars continue to realize their potential on the court, it was a simple request made by their head coach in the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey that helped Sampson and the Houston community realize just how far and wide the bonds of basketball can reach.
The country's 4th largest city is already facing what could be one of the worst flooding disasters in American history.
I've had so many of my friends in the coaching profession text and call offering prayers and thoughts for all Houstonians. They all ask what they can do to help. Well, I came up with something I think coaches all levels can help with. Please send 20 of your school t-shirts and 10 pair of shoes. Thank you and God bless you all. Please continue to keep Houston in your prayers. Coach Kelvin Sampson, University of Houston. Everything started on a Friday. Hurricane Harvey was picking up steam, and people lost their homes. They lost all their belongings. They lost everything. I was sitting at my kitchen table, and there was an envelope on it, and I flipped it over, and I just started writing down stuff. I called my daughter, and I typed out what I had on the back of the envelope and sent it to her because she runs my Twitter account. And because of my background in Oklahoma, I knew that the Oklahoma coaches would respond because I knew how great they are, and the state of Texas.
I saw Coach's tweet, and it just kind of blew up in a matter of hours.
When it started coming in, we were blown away. Some days we'd have 500 boxes. Some days we'd have 700. Some days you look around and those boxes were up to the ceiling. There were so many of them coming in from 49 or to 50 states. We went from thinking maybe we could get 20, 30,000 T-shirts, 12 to 15,000 pair of shoes. It's pretty good, right? I remember hearing it was 250,000 T-shirts and 50,000 pair of shoes. There was one that touched my heart. There was a high school in Massachusetts. It was a boys basketball team that didn't have their coach. And I think they got 20 T-shirts for the year. You know, a lot of the schools just didn't have anything. But, you know, they sent us, you know, some of them, their allotment for the year, they sent us, you know. And that was, you know, every day it was something different. It was really inspiring. But at high school, they only got 20 T-shirts, and can't get past the T-shirts. But they sent every one to us.
Clothed by Faith is a non-profit charity that gives a week's worth of very gently used clothing to anybody in need. Most of the things that were donated to us via University of Houston, we were able to distribute and give to people in need. We still have some of that stuff left over. What do we have here? OCC Basketball Camp 2017. Thompson Warriors. We had thousands of pairs of shoes. So what you see here represents 0.1% of everything that was given to us.
This became a huge, huge, major administrative undertaking. We just asked for the student athletes that they could volunteer to help us open the boxes, sort the clothes so we could get them out.
We were with each other pretty much on in for a good 2 to 3 weeks, seeing each other every day, all day. You know, our program bonded over this experience.
If it wasn't for Coach Sampson, we would not have been able to have the impact on all the people that we helped. Typically, we would serve about 500 people every month. In the first 9 days of Hurricane Harvey making landfall, we served over 7,000 people.
You find out what people are like when a natural disaster hits your area. Any of those coaches, had they been in our position, would have done the same thing that we did. Everybody came together to help each other, and we're all the same.
Well, Houston sure showed its strength in response to Hurricane Harvey. Remember the stories of J.J. Watt as well. One person in a good position can have so much influence.
Without question. I mean, it is sobering on many levels, heartening on others, inspiring, and also heart-wrenching, because you know that life goes on even as we celebrate and get excited about what we do. But life continues on, and the common humanity that we share sometimes rises to its best levels during the middle of a crisis. And obviously, Kelvin Sampson and the University of Houston basketball program stepped up in a big way, as did hundreds and thousands of others across the country.
And it was so unplanned and organic. There's no way that Kelvin could have anticipated that. It shows the power of sports.
Yeah.
It shows the bond between a team and its community. And this community has rallied around the Houston Cougars largely because they played some great basketball this year. He's done a great job rebuilding this team. And they split the regular season series with Wichita State. And they have a good chance to beat Wichita State today if they can make some shots and take care of the basketball and go up against that Shockers defense.
All right, focus back on the court today. Meanwhile, in other American news, UConn has fired Kevin Ollie. The Huskies finished 14-18 this season, and the school announced in January that it was the subject of an NCAA investigation. Ollie won a national title in 2014 in just his second season at the helm, but the Huskies have only gone to the NCAA tournament once in the past 4 years. And so this might have been seen coming.
Well, we could certainly see it coming from a one-loss perspective, and we knew that there was some type of NCAA investigation going on. What's happening is that schools are negotiating these huge buyouts with their coaches. Kevin Ollie, after they won the championship, had a chance potentially to go to the NCAA. The school locked him up with this expensive buyout. But unless there's real evidence of NCAA wrongdoing, I don't think they're going to have cause for termination. Pitt trying to do the same thing with Kevin Stallings. The lesson is stop signing guys to huge buyouts because you're eventually going to find yourself in this position.
No, exactly right. And again, that's a branch on a really big tree in terms of where salaries are and what these contracts look like, the business and commercialization of the game. All of that is tied to the cloud that's hung over the game and getting to the root of it. is going to take a lot of commitment and resolve around every part of it. Not just the players, but also the coaches' salaries and the facilities arms race. I mean, you can go on and on. Yeah. There's a lot of work to be done.
And we'll see what happens next at UConn. When Inside College Basketball, presented by Progressive Insurance, returns, they say there's a first time for everything, and that certainly rings true for the Atlantic Sun champs, the Bisons of Lipscomb. Join us after punching their first ever NCAA tournament ticket.
UC Davis from the bound. Jacksonville State, their first ever tournament appearance. Northern Kentucky, and their tournament appearance is their very first. The Northwestern Wildcats, 78 years in the making, their first ever.
I'm leaving the church.
If there's a course in heaven, I hope it's like Augusta National. The Masters on CBS.
FGCU hosting Lipscomb in the A-Sun Championship game. And a two-handed stop. Lipscomb just can't miss. Matthews 3. He hits bottom for the first time in school history. The Lipscomb Bisons will stampede to the NCAA tournament.
And joining us now, fresh off winning the Atlantic Sun Championship and earning their first ever NCAA tournament bid, the head coach of the Lipscomb Bisons, Casey Alexander, and junior forward Rob Marbury. Congratulations, Coach. I thought you might have hurt your arm spinning that net with all that excitement. What's the afterglow been like since you guys won this thing?
I tell you, it's hardly slowed down at all. It's been a lot of fun. It's the reason why we do it in a lot of ways, and so we've enjoyed it, and we're still enjoying it, and we know we got a game to play here soon, though.
Rob, let me ask you, how has it been for you this week, knowing that you're part of the field of 68?
It's been an incredible feeling. I mean, growing up as a kid, you see all these good teams playing in March Madness, and to finally be a part of it, it's an amazing feeling.
Let me go back to the game last Sunday. You guys had a 32-point lead, a 29-point lead at halftime. Talk to me about what the mindset was and what the conversation was as that lead started to erode.
Well, it was difficult. You know, we knew we were playing a really good team that gave us fits with press defense just a couple of weeks prior and great environment. So we knew nothing was going to be easy. We were prepared for it, but we didn't respond within the game very well. As a coach, I tried everything during timeouts and tried to push any button I could just to help us survive.
Rob, I understand that you guys had several hundred students there in Nashville to greet you when you came back. What has that been like? What's it been like on campus? And more importantly, how are you going to make sure you keep your edge for your next game?
Lipscomb's, they're all behind us right now. I mean, we've got the whole city of Nashville rooting for us, and so that's a great feeling to have that, you know, regular season fans, we've got, you know, even more of that, and, you know, coming home with the trophy and with a bunch of fans cheering us on, it's really heartwarming to see that now.
Very cool. And, Coach, you weren't on the flight home, though. You decided, morning after winning this first ever NCAA tournament bid, good time for a family road trip. What was the drive like going back all the way to Nashville?
It was long, I'll tell you that. It was about a 13-hour drive. I told my family I wasn't willing to foot the bill for them to get down to South Florida, so I told them if they drove down, I'd drive them back, win or lose. So I had to hold up my end of the deal.
Amazing.
Rob, you talk a little bit about what's made this team be so good lately. I mean, you've won 8 straight. You've won 12 out of 13. Anything you can put your finger on that's led to the success you guys have had recently?
I think we just stick to our principles. I mean, in preseason, we've got, you know, a great structure of offense, great structure of defense, and if we just stick to that, we'll be fine. And coaches hammered that the whole season. And, you know, we've had some lulls in games and, you know, in halves where we've had bad defensive efforts and, you know, shots weren't dropping. But, you know, the last 13 games, our shots have really been dropping, and we've been efficient on offense and getting some steals, getting some blocks, rebounding, pushing the court on defense, and it's just helped us a lot.
Coach, I know this is your first NCAA tournament as a head coach, but you also went to 4 tournaments as an assistant at Belmont. What did you learn from that experience that you can pass along to your players to prepare for your next game?
Well, Yeah, I mean, what I want them to do more than anything is just enjoy the moment and live in it and understand that it's a great opportunity and to be loose and to stay loose and to play that way. But at the same time, I think it's really important that we just continue to do what we've done all along, and that's believe in each other and play hard for each other. And then if we do that, that gives us our best chance to win. We're going to prepare and plan to win the game. There's no other way to do it.
Well, gave you that trophy right next to you. Casey Alexander, Rob Marbury's averaging 20 points a game down the stretch. Thank you once again, and congratulations on earning that first ever trip to the NCAA tournament.
Thank y'all.
All right. Meanwhile, as for the Horizon League champs, the third time is definitely a charm. Wright State earned its third NCAA tournament appearance and first since 2007 with a win over Cleveland State. But it was a Raider that didn't log a single minute that made Tuesday night truly special. Ryan Custer, the only freshman to play for the Raiders last season, was surrounded by his teammates during the post-game celebration. Custer suffered a critical spinal cord injury at an off-campus party that left him partially paralyzed, but he remains a crucial member of the Wright State family and a source of inspiration for his teammates.
I was talking to some people before. I mean, he's the whole morale of this team. He gives us all confidence. I know for myself, I was feeling sorry for myself for not making layups a few games ago, and I just thought about Ryan and looked down the bench to him, and you know, he has the toughest job every day to come out with energy for us.
Give him a piece of that net. When Inside College Basketball, presented by Progressive Insurance, returns, a closer look at some of the other teams that are already in and those that have a chance to make a surprising run. As Selection Sunday grows closer, we have a great triple header of action today. In the first American semifinal, it's top seed Cincinnati and Memphis, followed by Wichita State and Houston in number 2. And later in the Mountain West Championship game, after cruising past top seed Nevada, San Diego State facing New Mexico. The games are played on the court, but the matchups are decided in that room. The selection committee continuing to pore over all the data, all the possibilities to bring the nation the most compelling basketball tournament of the year. The bracket is revealed about 29 hours from now. And as we get set for tip-off in Orlando, Tracy Wolfson spoke with Cincinnati head coach Mick Cronin a short time ago.
Coach, you said in tournament play you need to win in different ways. So against this Memphis team, how do you think you need to win today?
Well, I think they're riding a high right now. They're playing for their coach, and they should be. He's one of the best people in our business. He's had to go through a tough time, which I think is ridiculous, but I think their emotion is real, and it's impressive. But we're going to have to rebound today. Very big athletic team. They're a very good offensive rebounding team. It'll be a physical game, so we're going to have to make sure we bring it.
You talked about trying to keep your team fresh, though, with the long road ahead. How do you balance that when trying to win a game as well?
Well, maybe I almost got us beat yesterday because we didn't practice much last week. You know, I thought after what we went through in the Wichita State win, we needed to just really recharge. And we didn't have one live play of basketball until we played SMU. So it was a little bit of a gamble. So yesterday hopefully sharpened us up for today.
Best of luck. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Trace.
All right, thank you, Tracy. Now, last Sunday, we left you with 4 teams in with automatic bids. Between then and now, 9 more schools locked up their spot in the tournament, some in dramatic fashion.
That'll do it. Iona jumping up and down. For the 3rd consecutive year, the Iona Gales, champions again of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. For the 3rd time in school history and the first time since 2001. The Wright State Raiders are the 2018 Horizon League men's basketball champions. And for the 3rd time in program history, the Wright State Raiders are going dancing. Put on your dancing shoes. We're going to party like it's 1999. We're going to the Big Dance! Charleston has won the CAA championship! Charleston, baby! LIU Brooklyn is going to the Big Dance for the first time since 2013, and their visiting fans explode onto the floor consecutive West Coast Conference Tournament Championship.
That's the ball game. Let the court storming begin. Back-to-back champions of the Patriot League tournament. And now on to the big dance for the Bucknell Bison.
And here's a look at the teams in the field of 68. We wonder what Bill Murray will do if Charleston ends up playing Xavier. Guys, there's always surprises in March. How about a team on here that might be ready to make a big surprising run, Clark?
Well, I think it's the day of bees. I'll start with Bucknell. The Bison have a terrific team in terms of size, balance, youth, experience. Can beat you a lot of different ways. Went through some adversity this year with some injuries, played a tough non-conference schedule. This team is ready to make some noise. I really believe that. They shoot it well enough. They got an excellent guard in Stephen Brown. Very, very scary team.
So it's the Bucknell Bison,
yes.
Lipscomb Bisons.
That's right.
So we're all straight. Not on this list yet. How about the Bulls of Buffalo?
There you go.
They got to play Toledo tonight in the MAC final. They went 15-3 in the MAC East. They did win the one time they played Toledo. They're 5th in the country in scoring at 85 a game, but they also lead the league in rebound margin. I don't think they're going to get out physical on the front line. If they're in the tournament, they are dangerous.
Conveniently, last I knew, there was a Buffalo Bisons minor league baseball team.
All right.
It brings it all together. Meanwhile, the Blackbirds of LIU Brooklyn will be making their 7th tournament appearance and first since 2013, and they're here. The Northeast Conference champs paying a visit when Inside College Basketball, presented by Progressive Insurance, returns.
Every detail is done to perfection. The Masters on CBS.
And that is it. LIU Brooklyn is going to the big dance for the first time since 2013. LIU is off to the NCAA tournament.
And welcome back to Inside College Basketball, presented by Progressive Insurance. Look who's here. The Blackbirds have flown in from LIU Brooklyn. Northeast Conference champs on their way to the NCAA tournament. Head coach Derek Kellogg with us as well. Coach, this is your first year with these guys. How did this all come together so fast?
Well, it's been a great whirlwind, and I think it's a testament to the type of kids that we have here. Great character guys that have worked really hard throughout the season, and when there's been some ups and downs, they've stuck with it, and we played our best basketball here coming down a stretch.
When I was watching the championship game, the TV crew went in the locker room, and you talked about 1F, 1F, one family, one focus. Can you embellish on that a little bit for us?
Well, it was kind of a sign then, a call for our team throughout the season to be together as a family, to make sure we stay focused through thick and thin. And these guys have done an excellent job of taking that to heart, of coming every day with a great attitude, working really hard. And it's been a really fun group to be around. And when you can win and have fun doing it, there's no better profession in the world.
Joel, you were terrific in the championship game, but there was a possibility that you might not be in this position. 5th-year senior, new coach coming in, you're coming off an injury. Talk a little bit about your mind and what went through your mind as the transition happened.
Well, I just wanted to make sure, I gave it everything I had this past year. Being my last year, I just want to make sure I fight for my teammates and things like that, give it everything I had.
How'd the injury from last year help you get ready for this season?
Well, since I could have played, I did a lot learning, watching the game, stuff like that, watching a lot of film. So I just want to take that and put that into my game this year.
I want to talk to Raekwon Clark. So 2 years ago, you joined this team as a walk-on, and now you're about to play in the NCAA tournament. At what point in the season did you realize this was an NCAA tournament caliber team?
Probably about 3 weeks ago, we became a family. We put everything together and we started to fight for each other, like how we wanted to do in the beginning of the season. And then after that, the rest was history.
And I know it's always an adjustment when you get a first-year coach. I've known Derek a long time. I know he's very calm, very reserved. He's kind of very introverted kind of guy. What was it like adjusting to him and just having a new coach with a group of players who played for somebody else?
Well, it was great because he comes to practice with energy all the time, so we have to bring energy as well. And after that, we just was having fun.
How about this team coming together? You've had ups and downs. How has it looked from your perspective?
From the very start, it was more of a defensive aspect that we needed to focus on. Offensively, we scored the ball like crazy. So for us, like I knew from the start that we was going to be great. It was more of defensively, being able to defend, play one-on-one basically. It's whoever beats their matchup.
By the way, I mean, you're famous. Let's just cut to the chase. This guy being on TV here with us, that's nothing. Jay Sean, you were the superstar kid dribbling all over the Ellen show, right?
Yeah, that was me.
You're all grown up now.
That was me.
How old were you when that happened?
11.
Oh, you were 11. Okay,
Yeah.
So not too long ago.
You teach these guys?
Years.
I hear there's a thing called the internet now where they keep all that video.
It's still up there. Still up there.
I want to ask Derek a question because, Derek, as we all know, you played for John Calipari at UMass and you coached there. You coached with him at Memphis. You were on the bench for a national championship game back at Memphis. So you have that type of experience in the tournament. What can you take from that and teach your kids about what to expect in a few days?
Well, I'll tell you what, to be around Coach Cal during that time, to see his focus on the task at hand, but also how loose he was for the importance of that contest and game. And I think that carried over to our team, the preparation leading up to it, but also his calmness. As a matter of fact, he came down to the pregame meal in a bathrobe. Let the guys know that he's calm and collective, and I think I've been able to kind of exude that confidence, but also let our guys stay calm and be ready to play.
And Clark comes to production meetings in a bathroom, so it works.
I was pretty close.
I would if I could. Julian, question for you. You're obviously the designated, I would think, laser on this squad. Talk a little bit about your growth and development. I mean, you guys have a nice mix of kind of young guys and some fifth-year seniors. So how have you kind of handled your role and responsibility with this group?
Well, I came in and just did what I had to do. These guys, they all do what they do. And we don't take from each other. Everyone eats, as everyone says. And, we came together as a family, and everyone just, accepted their roles. That's what I did.
Yeah, excellent.
And the mic over to Julius Van Sars. So a lot of people sort of seeing you guys for the first time. Next week, they're going to watch you play for the first time. What can they expect when they watch Brooklyn take the floor?
What they can expect from us is probably a lot of energy. We go up and down really quick. We play hard. We talk on defense. It's going to be a good game. We bring energy, as I said.
A lot of energy. I'm feeling a lot of energy.
As a family.
Speaking of family, Coach, who do we have here?
This is my son, Max, and our family, basically the top guys with us, Max Kellogg and Jackson Connors. They've been with us through thick and thin, make the most noise of any kids in the country when the other teams are shooting free throws. So.
They got a specific role.
Yeah,
excellent.
Absolutely. Very cool.
Free throw defense.
There you
guys,
go.
Good luck. Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks
whether
for coming.
it's Dayton or straight into late next week. Not a missed shot. I didn't see a single missed shot. We'll be right back here on Inside College Basketball, presented by Progressive Insurance. Nice one.
That is Marshall basketball, a Hilltopper dagger.
The Conference USA Championship on CBS Sports Network.
For the first time in 33 years, Loyola is going to the NCAA tournament.
When I took this job, I said, I'm a Catholic kid from Chicago. How cool would this be to get Loyola to the NCAA tournament? And now here we are.
In a city that's considered a pro town, Loyola University of Chicago is unique. It's the only men's college basketball team from the Windy City that houses a national championship trophy. But that was over a half-century ago, and the Ramblers have been chasing another ever since.
Go in here.
As years go by, it's tough for any school to keep hanging their hat on another year, another decade. And when March rolls around, everybody kind of looks around and says, well, we don't have a team in the NCAA tournament. That 1963 Loyola team remained the only team from the state of Illinois to win the national championship. Loyola has always had that in their back pocket of history. And that was the first integrated team that does that. it was the height of the civil rights push and the height of segregation in the South.
4 college freshmen, all Negroes, were refused service at a Greensboro, North Carolina lunch counter, and the civil rights sit-in was born.
There were 2 coaches that were famous in Chicago, George Ireland at Loyola and Ray Meyer at DePaul. And they were the first to recruit and actively include black players on their team. George Ireland was a tough coach. He played his 5 guys. There were 4 black starters and 1 white guy. And they played almost every minute of every game.
They got a fast break down to Harkness. He jumps, he shoots, he scores! He scores! He scores! He scores!
I grew up in the Chicago area, so I get chills thinking about the national championship in 1963.
It's over! It's over! We won! We won! We won! We won the ball game! We won!
To know the cultural effect that it had on not only the world of sports, but in the South and integration. And I watched it, and I was just blown away.
We won the ball game, and George Ireland is being hung.
The ride continues because this team still is a very much part of what we do, where we are, who we are at Loyola.
Consecutive games, longest winning streak since back in the mid-'80s.
It's been a drought. The last time we won a conference title was 33 years ago.
I think when you come in and the program has been kind of down, it's almost like there's less pressure. You know, we believed in where we could go, and to us, you know we can do more.
You know, we don't talk about it that much, but, you know, it's something that we have in the back of our minds every day.
You guys have put yourself in a great spot. So why not put the foot on the gas pedal and get better this week?
Here's what we did this season. We really started talking about the process. We weren't talking about winning the league. We weren't talking about going to the NCAA tournament. We were talking about getting better during the year. That's all our mentality was on.
This year, it's Loyola's turn, and the spotlight is shining on them.
And that's going to do it. The Ramblers are going dancing for the first time since 1985.
I think Chicago is excited. I saw a tweet, someone saw somebody wearing a Loyola basketball jersey, and they said they hadn't seen that in like 15 years.
We're projected to do good this year. They just kept on preaching, this is our year, this is our year.
They kind of carry the mantle of the 85 team and the 1963 team as well.
Everybody around campus talks about the 1963 team.
That 63 team means a lot to me, to the university, to the city of Chicago. They inspire us all the time to be good.
The past is part of our future. In the 1963 Loyola Basketball Championship is the only national championship for men's basketball in the state of Illinois. So it's a big deal.
The kind of courage that they had to do that, you know, it's everything that the game is about. And I'm honored to wear the same uniform that those guys wore.
Well, I tell you what, so often we get an opportunity covering this tournament to dig into stories of that kind of magnitude and connect them. Even though they're historic, they're connected to the present day. And how about those Ramblers now having a chance? And I've seen this team, they're really good. But to connect the past with who you are now and to keep that in your mind is really instructive for all of us, and particularly those young players on that basketball team.
Well, you know I'm a history nerd, especially when it comes to college basketball.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what's so great about the NCAA tournament. They've been playing this thing since 1939. So everything that happens today can be connected to something that happened in the past, and that all of us need to understand that we stand on the shoulders of those who built this tournament and built this sport in our greater society. And you're right about these Ramblers. They play a beautiful, team-oriented style of basketball, efficient on both ends, dominated the Missouri Valley Conference. Definitely one of those teams, if they're an 11 seed or a 12 seed, that you want to potentially jump on as a first-round pick.
Yeah, and if you thought a lot had happened since their last tournament appearance, a whole lot more has changed since their national championship year.
That's right.
Thank you, Clark. All right, we'll be back in a moment to wrap things up and get you set for tip-off of Cincinnati and Memphis in the American semifinals.
The celebration is underway. Jones, 3 for the win.
Let the court storming begin.
The Ramblers are going dancing.
Back-to-back Big Ten championships. We're going to the Big Ten.
Live news, scores, and highlights. Streaming free across devices 24/7. CBS Sports HQ.
Insurance is sponsored by Progressive Insurance, your first-round pick for car insurance. And by Jersey Mike Subs, be a sub above. All right, Kareem Bruton Jr.'s buzzer-beating three, pushing Memphis past Tulsa and into today's first semifinal matchup. The junior guard is the Tigers' third leading scorer. As for Cincinnati, Gary Clark racked up his 10th double-double of the season in yesterday's quarterfinal win over SMU. The senior force is averaging just under 13 points and a little over 8 rebounds per game. All right, back to the scoreboard now. We got the America East Championship. Vermont, they've won 23 straight against UMBC. Clark, that's your favorite player, Trey Bell Haynes.
Trey Bell Haynes, I love his name, and his game is pretty strong, too. But then Jairus Lyle's going to knock down the three. It's only a 2-point difference. But Trey Bell Haynes scoring in the lane, little split of the double team, hoop and harm, +8 for the Catamounts. Ernie Everett Duncan knocks down the three. But hey, here we go. Mara KJ, 3. And we're tight in the American East Final.
Vermont just got a couple free throws there. Now, the Ivy League semis. First one up, Big Red and the Crimson. Big Red cutting into the lead. Terrence McBride for the pull-up. And then here he comes again, Seth.
Finding Stephen Julian. I love that the Ivy League has a tournament. I love that they're playing in the Palestra. And I really like these Harvard Crimson. Danilo DeGurch with the dunk, and then Jack Gordon can nail the three for Cornell. We got a close one. Harvard's want to beat here.
Yeah, Cornell with the early lead there. Sunbelt semifinal, number 1, UT Arlington, and 1 seed, Louisiana. And it's Kalen Wilson cutting that early lead in half, but the Cajuns are raging.
Yeah, they can put it in the basket. Jakeenan Gant knocks down the three, but Eric Neal, he can get it done too. And this one is snug as expected, but Louisiana the favorite in that one.
All right. UTA with a 3-point lead. All right, we're getting ready for tip-off here. Cincinnati and Memphis, what are we looking for? The ball's in the air.
Well, if Memphis is going to have a chance to win this game, they're going to have to show us a performance we've not seen all season from them in terms of making shots, rebounding the ball, taking care of it. Cincinnati has a matchup advantage across the board, I think, and they've dominated the first 2 meetings. I think Cincinnati is going to get this one fairly easily.
I would agree with that. Cincinnati is so good defensively, especially when they're bringing energy. It was interesting hearing Mick Cronin talk about how we kind of gave them a week off in practice, which got them regenerated in terms of their energy. Lost a little bit of that sharpness, but I think having a game under the belt restores that. I think they'll be off and running today.
And what kind of seed are you thinking for the Bearcats?
I think if they win this tournament in this conference, they could be a 2 seed. That's where they'll end up.
All right, we'll see. And we will see you back here at halftime. Cincinnati and Memphis in the first American semifinal is on the way after this message and a word from your local station.
The course is perfection, and it asks perfection. The Masters on CBS.